Going on, everybody? This Afro think tank. The white supremacist Kevin Roberts, the head of the Heritage Foundation. I didn't even know this dude got a PhD in African American studies. This dude went to college to learn about black people. Got a PhD in order to disenfranchise black people. If that's not obsession, I don't know what is. I don't know what's up to learn about. Listen, this guy knows. He has a PhD in African American history. He's fully aware of real American history. He's fully aware of what his ancestors have done. He's fully aware of discrimination, racism, redlining, everything. And then he made Project 2025. Him and his cronies put together Project 2025 to dismantle everything he learned while he was going to school. How pressed do you have to be as a white man? Like, white people are obsessed. I mean, the obsession is ridiculous. You're obsessed with our penises. You're obsessed with our hair. You're obsessed with our swag. You're obsessed with the fact that your woman is naturally attracted to us, and you don't want to admit it, but you know that's the truth. You guys are weirdly attracted to us as men because white men are very, very, very gay culturally. Very violently gay culturally. That's true. Look at European history. You guys are your violence and your gaydom goes together. It's the weirdest, most barbaric thing, right? Especially them Greeks you love so much. Super gay and pedophilic. But anyway, check this out. I had no idea. The dude, what? Imagine. You learned all of that. You was a spy, like he was spying through that shit. Imagine. A PhD. Justified against us. That's why, listen, we still know more about white folks than y'all. You can get that PhD all you want. That shit ain't gonna teach you really about us. You're gonna know that surface level shit. Yeah, you know the history, but that's not gonna do anything to stop the inevitable. And that's our takeover. But you go ahead, get that PhD. And that's you can't get no more pressure. Tell me that you're obsessed without telling me you're obsessed. A racist goes to school, learns everything he possibly can about black people in order to try to discriminate and hate on black people and eliminate black people and disenfranchise us in everywhere possible. That's insane. Anyway, you guys tell me what you think in the comment section. This Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.
So I was eating breakfast, hanging out on Threads, and I came across this. This is your daily reminder that Kevin Roberts, president of the Heritage Foundation, got a PhD in African American history and then used it to author Project 2025 and dismantle civil rights. Racism is the point. When I saw that, I was not surprised at all, but I was really excited to read that. And the reason why I got excited to read that is because I know how much information there is when it comes to learning about American slavery. I have said on multiple occasions that the American empire, the United States, does not want its citizens to look too closely into slavery because if we did, our noses would touch the mirror. And that the architect of Project 2025 used the information that he got from learning about slavery and learning about Black history in America. He used that information to be this powerful. I cannot emphasize enough that the best thing that you can do as an American, if you do nothing else, is to learn about slavery. Now, there was a community note that had been added to the that particular post. I'm going to show you that too. It says, Kevin D. Roberts is the president of the Heritage Foundation and a former history professor. He earned his doctorate in history from the University of Texas at Austin, focusing on Louisiana's slavery history. His 2005 dissertation, Slaves and Slavery in Louisiana, The Evolution of Atlantic World Identities, 1791 to 1831, studied Atlantic world slavery, specifically focusing on the Haitian Revolution and Nat Turner's Rebellion. He looked at the difference between assimilation and revolts. You ever have so much information inside of you, so many feelings, so much, I feel like I'm going to burst. So right now I am reading a book called Bound for the Promised Land. It's about Harriet Tubman. It's her biography, and it's written by Kate Clifford Larson. And anybody that knows me knows that I love Harriet Tubman. Ever since I learned about her when I was a little girl, I've just been I find inspiration from her. And when I'm reading this book, right? And one of the things that's coming up quite a bit after Harriet has freed herself and has been freeing many others, The biggest issue that she is bumping up against is capitalism. She can't afford nothing. And so she's constantly having to raise money. All of the energy and time that she could be using towards her cause is being spent with her asking for money, raising money, finding creative ways to get access to money. And even the abolitionists who are helping her, the white abolitionists who generally are like middle class, they are like kind of giving her money piecemeal because they say that she wouldn't know what to do with a whole lot of money, which of course is very infantilizing to this woman who has been through so much and done so much. But either way, Harriet Tubman broke free from a plantation system to only be a part of a bigger plantation. And that was unfortunately a plantation that she could not escape from because everybody was on that plantation, and that plantation was capitalism. And so while many of us can understand the idea of chattel slavery being wrong and just thinking that, like what Harriet Tubman did and what Nat Turner did and what a number of slaves who revolted, like them, what they did was the right thing. And even though at the time it was illegal, like Harriet Tubman was committing a federal crime at that time, like even though it was illegal, we still understood that ethically and morally it was right for them to do what they did by disrupting that entire system, as opposed to assimilating into the system, revolting and rebelling against the system. We understand that to be the moral thing to do in an unethical situation such as the one that they were all a part of. But we are now currently a part of a much larger unethical system, one that governs pretty much all of our actions, and we are being put under more and more surveillance. And there are little whisperings of revolt and whisperings of rebellion, but for the most part, everybody's like, well, all you have to do is play within the system, assimilate within the system, work with the system, and then you can win the system. That's like saying if you are a better slave, if you are a gooder slave, then your slave master and you will have a more positive working environment. People are currently working and they're not being paid for their work. People are not being given the value of what their work is worth. People are not being given housing, and they are paying way more for housing than that housing is worth. Housing is a human right, just like freedom for everybody to be able to live their life and not be owned by another human. That was a human right. It is a human right. Housing is a human right. Food is a human right. Being able to live safely, that's a human right. Access to healthcare, that is a human right. Access to education, those are human rights. And so we're at a point right now where a lot of people are going to start understanding that you cannot win in an unethical system. You're going to have to break the law. Yes, try to do things the system's way, but also you're going to have to create infrastructure so that when you free yourself from this system, that you will have a safe place to land. So that's something that I've been thinking about quite a bit when I'm reading this book. I'm sorry I'm talking so fast. I got other things I got to do today. But like reading this book, I was thinking to myself, damn, like if there was a system that was set up for people who'd been freed, and that was what Harriet was trying to do after the fact. Like she was trying to help set her family up and all of the people that were freed. Like, when it came to the Underground Railroad, that was a big part of what they had to do, was like help people who've been newly freed try to integrate into society. But society was already unjust. It was already unethical, in that you have to pay for things that are human rights. So that's kind of where we are when it comes to the fight against slavery. That was never solved, and it's only getting worse. So I just ultimately learn about slavery so you can understand human rights and all of the ways that this country currently violates them, and how you have to work. Like another thing that my studies about slavery has taught me, because I've been studying this my entire life, and I went to school and I studied this too. Maybe not at the PhD level, but like in my free time and just in general for the past 20 something years, I've just been studying slavery and just learning about slavery and that kind of thing. But one of the things that I find to be particularly interesting when it comes to slavery and just the civil rights movement in general is that it takes a rebellion. It takes breaking the law first, and then suddenly all of the votes, all of the laws, everything starts to be back up what the people have already decided by force. Then suddenly things start to move in the direction that the people have already been in. One of the things in the book that it talks about is that near the end of slavery, there were so many revolts. There were so many slaves running away. There were so many things happening where like slaves would like poison their masters. It started to become a liability, and it started to become dangerous and scary to own slaves. And they started having to spend so much money and so much time trying to police their slaves that after a while, it just wasn't as lucrative. And this is not to say that it wasn't lucrative. It was lucrative, and it continued to be lucrative all the way to the end. That's why they had to transmute it and turn it into something different so that we still have slavery and it's very much alive and well. But the way that they did it, they had to restructure it. But I'm saying all of this to say that all of these systems are very much like a man, where like a woman will come up with an idea and everybody starts doing it, and then the man takes credit for it afterward or something like that. Like, that's how all of this works. That's why I always say like patriarchy and white supremacy and all that, everything's tied together, capitalism, all of that. So the people push things by breaking the law, disregarding the law, opting out, and that's when the law follows suit. Either way, learn about slavery. Learn about the history of America, but really learn about slavery and try to put your emotions aside. Yes, it was sad. It was a horrible thing. It's terrible. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, take some time to cry. Do what you got to do. But like, learn about slavery from a logical point of view, because you will learn so much. And there are so many things that they don't want you to even consider as an option for how we can change this world. And they know that. They know that. He looked at the difference between assimilation and revolts. They know how much power there is in that information, and you should too.
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate, you should ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God gave you?
Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan!
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.